Welcome to another bonus edition of Upon Further Review.
Upon further review,
And in this edition, we'll be talking about the Baltimore Ravens at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you can catch this Week 6 matchup on October 12th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on your local CBS affiliate. And the Ravens head into this game with a record of 3-2, and the Buccaneers are 1-4. The Ravens started off the season losing at home to the Bengals, but then they even up their record by winning at home against the Steelers. Then they went on the road and they beat the Browns in Cleveland by just 2 points as they started off the season with 3 division games. Then they hosted the Panthers and they beat them up pretty bad as they won by 28 points in that game, as they had won 3 straight after losing that first game. And then last week they went to Indianapolis, and that was quite the game. It came down to just one possession, and they lost by a touchdown, 20-13. And that's how they got to 3-2. And for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they started off by losing their first 3 games. The first 2 at home to Carolina and then St. Louis. Then they went on the road to Atlanta and got destroyed on that Thursday night game when Devin Hester made history by breaking Deion Sanders' record for special team returns for touchdowns. But then they went to Pittsburgh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after that just horrible loss, and they bounced back. They won in Pittsburgh, a miraculous comeback. They came from behind to win by 3 points in the end, 27-24. They got their first victory of the season that put them at 1-3. Last year they were 0-8 before they won their first game. But now they've already, got a win in this season. They got a win in September. They did lose their first game in October, though, back in Week 5 last week in New Orleans. That one went to overtime as Kyrie Robinson broke the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans' hearts with that run in overtime that defeated them as they fell to 1-4. But now the Bucs host the Ravens, and this is going to be a tough game for the Buccaneers for sure. Is the Ravens, even without Ray Rice, they have been just a behemoth of a running game. They've got a great defense to boot, and Joe Flacco can throw the ball. Of course, he's been struggling a little bit, but if he can get it going like he can, the Ravens are definitely one of the more competitive teams for sure, and a very interesting team to watch. The Buccaneers are a team on the rise as Lovie Smith has them playing better and better each week. They had that fall off on Thursday on that short week, but kind of can expect that. I mean, it makes sense that a team with a new coach is gonna struggle having a Thursday night game in Week 3. Why'd they even schedule it that way? That's kind of shame on you, NFL schedule makers. But anyway, let's look at the stats for the Ravens. They're 13th in the NFL with passing yards per game, and the Buccaneers are 29th. Because they've been struggling to pass the ball. They haven't had consistency. They had Josh McCown at quarterback, and then now they are Mike Glennon. I think Mike Glennon's actually the better option. I don't know. They maybe shouldn't have even got McCown in the offseason, but they've been better off just giving the snaps in the preseason to Glennon. But we look at pass defense. Both of these teams struggle against the pass defensively, as the Ravens, that's their weakness on defense. They're 27th in the league when it comes to passing yards allowed, and the Bucs are 30th. So right there, both these teams struggle in the passing game, but the Ravens definitely have the advantage as they can pick up yards through the air, although they might not be able to stop teams from doing the same against them. The Bucs they've been abysmal through the air. Of course, Glennon did have 300 yards against the Steelers back in Week 4. And he had 249 last week against the Saints. So if we see Mike Glennon do what he could do, not a lot of people believe in him. I do believe in Mike Glennon. I think he actually is very underrated. I've been wrong before, though, so we shall see. But we'll look at now the running stats, and the Ravens are 12th in the NFL when it comes to running the ball, and the Bucs are 24th. That's in rushing yards per game. And then when run defense, though, the Ravens are 8th in the NFL when it comes to stopping the run, and the Bucs are 18th. So the Bucs are actually pretty decent when it comes to stopping the run, But the Ravens, they're top 10 when it comes to stopping the run. And although the Bucs, like I said, they have talent, even though the numbers don't bear it out. And the Ravens, though, they got too much for them. And they definitely have the advantage when it comes to the running game. And they should be able to run all over the Buccaneers. And they should also be able to stuff their running game in the backfield as well. That's what the numbers bear out. Although they play the games on the field, not on paper. So we shall see. And then when it comes to the points for and against, the Ravens are 15th in points for, and the Bucs are 25th. And when it comes to points against, the Ravens are 3rd, and the Bucs are 31st. So when it comes to the scoreboard, big advantage in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. They're like middle of the road when it comes to putting points on the board, but they are top 5. They're top 3, number 3 in the league in terms of points against. They don't let teams score. And if we actually look at the Ravens this season, in their loss in week 1, they let up 23, and in their loss in week 5, they let up 20. That's the most points they've let up, is those 2 games. Of course, they let up 21 to the Browns in a victory, but in their other 2 wins against Pittsburgh in week 2, they only let up 6 points, and then against Carolina in week 4, they only let up 10 points. All the while, in their wins, they put up 26, 23, and 38, whereas in their losses, they only scored 16 and 13. So when they get going, they get going. But either way, they're not letting up much. And so the Bucs are going to have a tough time getting in the end zone. And they already have a tough time at that anyway. Whereas in their first 3 games, the Bucs scored 14, 17, and then 14. And that was against Carolina, St. Louis, and Atlanta. Then they had a season-high 27 against the Steelers in their lone win at that point. And then they upped their season-high to 31 in the loss against New Orleans. So they proved that they could put some points up against the Steelers and the Saints, although they did struggle against the Panthers, Rams, and Falcons. And it's kind of interesting. You'd think the Steelers and Saints maybe had better defenses than the Falcons or the Rams, but Carolina, there's still kind of a question mark, because although they're supposed to have a good defense, their defense has been kind of struggling, and the numbers aren't bearing that out so much this season. But really, going against the Ravens, though, the Bucs will be lucky to put up double digits, really, to be honest. Whereas the Ravens going against the Bucs, I wouldn't be surprised to see them. They should have no problem scoring 20 plus. They do that, they're going to win. Every time they scored 20 or more, they won. It was only when they were held to 16 or less where they lost. And they could score as many as 30, maybe even 40 points potentially in this game. And maybe the Bucs behind the arm of Mike Glennon can, keep this one interesting. And that's if their defense can cause some turnovers. If they could do that, maybe it's an interesting game. Most likely, though, the Ravens should be able to kind of beat up on them. The Bucs might, like I said, they could make it interesting. They could keep it close. They've been playing better, so we'll see. Maybe they pull off an upset, but most likely, the way the numbers look, from what I'm seeing, it looks like the Ravens win this one by double digits, and so I gotta go with the Ravens. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Very interested to hear your opinions. Share them with myself and with the world by leaving a comment. And if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. How else would we know that you like the show if you don't hit the like button? Of course, if you don't like the show, hit the dislike button, because how are we going to know? Either way, let us know. Interact with us. Leave a comment. But if you're going to be negative, try to be constructive. And if you're going to be positive, thank you very much. I love you. And I'm really appreciative that you're listening. Again, thank you so much. And subscribe if you like this content, because we bring you recaps and upon further reviews for each and every single game in the NFL all season long and throughout the playoffs. We're doing it next year too. We're also covering the baseball playoffs, and we cover college football as well. We'll definitely be covering the college football playoffs. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. And we also do our weekly show, The Wedge, where we do quick picks, fantasy picks, and a weekly rewind, as well as the Upon Further review for the Thursday night game. And we try to have that up somewhere between Tuesday, Thursday, usually Wednesday. We're trying to get it up earlier, trying to get it up there on Tuesday if we can. Just, sometimes run into some technical difficulties. It pushes things back, But that is life, and it does get up there one way or another. We get it up there. As I said, thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a wonderful day and having a great weekend, and enjoy all of the sports.